There is one habit that almost every truly successful person shares. It has nothing to do with money or luck or talent. It is something much simpler and much harder. They stay quiet about their plans. Not because they are hiding something bad, but because they understand a secret that most people never learn. The moment you speak a goal out loud, your brain starts to feel like you already did it. The praise feels good, the excitement feels real, and slowly that good feeling replaces the actual work. This is the story of a young man named Daniel and the mistake that was quietly ruining his life, one conversation at a time. Daniel lived in a small town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone and the local diner was the center of the world. Daniel worked at a garage fixing cars for other people, but what he really wanted more than anything was to open his own shop. Every Friday night, Daniel would sit at the counter of Rosie's diner with his friends and he would talk. He would talk about the shop he was going to open. He would talk about the location he had in mind on the corner near the old train station. He would talk about the sign he wanted, painted bright red with his name on it. His friends would smile and nod. Someone would say, "That sounds amazing, Daniel." Someone else would buy him a coffee to celebrate, and Daniel would feel like a successful man, even though nothing had actually happened yet. This went on for almost 2 years. Every few months, Daniel would announce a new plan. He would talk about saving money for the shop. He would talk about the loan he was going to apply for. He would talk about the tools he was going to buy. But when his friends would ask him later how it was going, Daniel would change the subject or make an excuse and then start talking about a brand new plan instead. He did not notice what he was doing. He truly believed he was working toward his dream. But in his mind, talking about the plan had quietly become a replacement for doing the plan. One rainy afternoon, an old man walked into the garage where Daniel worked. His name was Walker. He needed his truck fixed, and while Daniel worked under the hood, Walker sat on an old chair nearby, watching in silence. Daniel already knew who Walker was. Everyone in town did. Walker used to own 3 garages across the state. He had sold them years ago and now lived a quiet life outside of town, fixing old furniture as a hobby. People said he was one of the smartest businessmen the town had ever known, but nobody could remember Walker ever bragging about anything. While Daniel worked, he could not help himself. He started talking about his dream shop, the location, the sign, the plan to save enough money by next year. Walker listened without saying much. When Daniel finally finished, Walker asked him a simple question. "How long have you been planning this shop?" Daniel thought about it and said, "Almost 2 years now." Walker nodded slowly, then he said something Daniel would never forget. "You have told a lot of people about this shop, but have you told the bank?" Daniel did not have an answer. Walker paid for the truck repair, and before he left, he said one more thing. "If you ever want real advice, come find me. But I only give it to people who are ready to stop talking and start working." That night, Daniel could not sleep. He kept thinking about Walker's question. He realized that he had told his friends about the shop more times than he could count, but he had never once walked into a bank to ask about a loan. He had never once called the landlord about the empty building near the train station. He had talked about the dream so many times that talking about it had started to feel like enough. The next day, Daniel drove out to Walker's house. He found the old man in his workshop repairing an old wooden chair. Daniel asked him directly, "What is your secret? How did you build 3 garages while staying so quiet about everything?" Walker set down his tools and looked at Daniel for a long moment. "I am going to give you a challenge," he said. "For the next 6 months, you are not allowed to tell anyone about your plan for the shop. Not your friends, not your family, no one. You will work on it every single day in silence, and you will not say one word about it until it is done." Daniel laughed a little, thinking it sounded strange. Why does it matter if I talk about it? Walker's answer was simple. Because every time you talk about a dream before it is real, you are spending the energy that was supposed to build it. Talk is cheap, Daniel. It feels like progress, but it is not progress. Silence forces you to prove it to yourself first, before you prove it to anyone else. Daniel agreed to try it. The first few weeks were harder than he expected. He would sit at the diner on Friday nights, and his friends would ask about the shop, and the words would almost jump out of his mouth. He wanted so badly to tell them about the small business class he had signed up for. He wanted to tell them about the $200 he had already saved that month. But he remembered Walker's words, and he stayed quiet, and instead he just smiled and said, "Still working on it." It felt strange at first, almost lonely. He was used to the excitement, the praise, the attention. Without it, the dream suddenly felt heavier and more real. But something else started to happen too. Because Daniel was not spending his evenings talking about the plan, he was spending them working on the plan instead. He filled out the loan paperwork on a Tuesday night instead of describing it to his friends on Friday. He visited the empty building near the train station on his lunch break instead of just describing it out loud. He fixed up old tools in his garage at home quietly, without posting about it or mentioning it to anyone. One evening, his friend Tommy noticed the calluses on Daniel's hands and asked what he had been building. Daniel almost told him everything. The words were right there, but he stopped himself, took a breath, and simply said, just some projects, nothing big yet. 6 months passed. Daniel had saved enough money. He had signed the papers for the building near the train station. He had ordered the sign, bright red, with his name painted across it. And through all of it, he had not told a single person outside of the bank and the landlord. On the morning the shop was finally ready to open, Daniel stood outside looking at the red sign above the door. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from something closer to disbelief. He had not announced the opening. He had not told his friends the date. He had simply put a small notice in the local paper the way Walker had told him to. Quiet, simple, no big speech. But when he unlocked the door that morning, he found the street outside already filling with people. His friends from the diner were there. His old co-workers from the garage were there. Even people he barely knew were standing outside, waiting. Confused, Daniel turned to see Walker standing near the back of the small crowd, leaning on his cane, smiling. Daniel walked over and asked him, how did all these people know? Walker's answer surprised him. I did not tell them what you were planning, Walker said. I told them what I saw. I saw you show up early every single day. I saw you carry lumber into that old building on your lunch breaks. I saw you turn down invitations so you could keep working. People do not need to hear your plans, Daniel. They believe in what they can see with their own eyes. Your silence did the talking for you. Daniel stood there for a moment, looking at the crowd, at the sign above his head, at the life he had quietly built without a single announcement. For 2 years, he had talked about this dream more times than he could count, and nothing had happened. In just 6 months of silence, everything had changed. So what can we take from Daniel's story today? The first lesson is this: talking about a goal can trick your brain into feeling like you already reached it. That feeling of pride and excitement is real, but it is not the same as progress. Protect your goals by keeping them close, at least until they are strong enough to stand on their own. The second lesson is this: actions speak far louder and far longer than words ever will. People remember what they saw you build, not what they heard you promise. And the third lesson is this: silence is not about hiding. It is about focus. When you stop spending your energy explaining your dream to others, you have more energy left to actually build it. If there is something you have been planning for a long time, something you have talked about again and again but never truly started, maybe it is time to try what Daniel tried. Stop announcing it. Start building it. Let your results speak when you are ready and not one moment before.